Hello, Husky Light here. Right, I've been sat here probably for about 35 minutes trying to work myself up to do this video. Um, Spirit, higher consciousness and everything are like, you've got to do this. I'm like, really? No, don't want to. Why? They're like, no, you're going to do it. Step out your comfort zone, get it done. This is the reason I'm here on YouTube. It's not actually. I know that I have to do this to make it into a blog, a diary, so that one day I can look back on it for myself, let alone anybody else. But obviously if you're going to watch it, then I hope that I can do it in a way that you understand, appreciate, and maybe some small part of it you can go, oh, I know what you're talking about, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, but yeah, I've been sat here for ages thinking, how do I do this one? I did a video, and I have written so much stuff down lately as well. I could do several blogs on about several different things that actually do come together and mean the same thing. I did a blog a few weeks ago on, we're all co-creators, and I didn't realise at the time when I did it, or I didn't fully comprehend just how much of a co-creator we are, just how much we do create our own reality around us. I didn't get it. I didn't quite comprehend the enormity of what I was saying until the past few days, when it has really hit home in a big way, because spirit guides have just gone, boom, there you go. Get your head around that one. Okay, thank you. So, as you know, I'm part of a twin flame. I'm a twin flame as well. And I will go into another video, but all these romantic ideas about twin flames being in love forever, and the way you watch it on YouTube and some of the other people that do it, I'm sorry to disappoint anybody out there, but it's not fun some of the time, and it can be really bloody difficult. And also, they explain it in a way which makes you automatically think there is somebody physical on the outside in your world who is your twin flame. That may or may not be the case. The twin flame is inside you. It's about balancing your male and female inside you. That is the twin flame dynamic. It has to start inside you. It is your connection to spirit. It's connection to your spiritual twin flame, who guides you in your higher consciousness and connects you up into the higher realms. And that's what it's all about. And when you talk about twin flames, it's actually it's your Kundalini. It's your chakras opening up one by one, and the feelings and associations and the stuff that you need to clear and go through as each chakra opens, which is a whole other video, which is, I am trying to concentrate on one thing, but there is so many different things involved in this. So anyway, I just want to concentrate on what I started out as saying was manifestation, and not quite realising how immense this is, because I'm a twin flame. These gifts, they're not side effects. They are, I mean, a lot of the gifts I've had since I was being a child. Sorry, my dog is trying to lie down and she just wants to fall on me. I shall knock the table flying if she does that. Lie down here. Yes, just lie down there. Yes, you don't like that. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So anyway, a lot of the gifts that I've had since I was a child, which I've blocked out at various stages throughout my life when they've come up, because I've been in a place where I've not been able to deal with them, or they weren't acceptable while I was working, or it wasn't the right time. And that is probably the way it was planned as well. We all come down here with a contract, but it's, you know, I've had this, as you know, they started opening over a year ago, and I went through Night of the Dark Soul, and basically Spirit said, right, the trauma, accident, what I went through to trigger the awakening, was also predestined as well. So it started. Spirit said, it's time now. It's in your contract, and that's it. So that's what happened. Anyway, this co-creating, which is a gift, which is part of the twin flame dynamic, this co-creating and creating my own reality. When I look back over my life, now that I'm awake, now that I am fully connected, I can look back on my life and realise that there was always signs, there was always messages, there was always so many things around me, down to my family's names, their surnames, their lifestyles, all sorts of things that when I look back, well, why didn't I see that back then? Because I wasn't awake, as simple as. So you don't see things like that. You are completely oblivious to them. And that was it. But now when I look back, they just make so much sense, and they're so blindingly obvious as well. Maybe that's the right word, blindingly obvious. They were so obvious I couldn't see them. They were staring me in the face. They were right under my nose. But because, thank you, Jeannie, because you're not awake, you just don't see them. You are on a completely different plane of consciousness. Anyway, let's get back to this weekend. I spent a little bit of time with my ex, who's a mate. It's actually my child's father. Last year when I was going through it, before I came on YouTube, he thought I'd lost the plot completely because he didn't understand, he didn't get what was going on. I tried to explain it to him, but he wasn't getting it at all. Now, he's quite a spiritual person, but not in... but he doesn't talk about it a lot, doesn't cover it. Anyway, we were talking about it on Friday. We had this whole conversation on Friday. And I've got notes in front of me, and my dog howling is not helping, probably because the energies are getting high again. Can you lie down, please, Jeannie? Can we lie down and not howl? Thank you. So, I was talking to him about situations and events that had happened last year, probably around Night of the Dark Soul. Some of the things I'd seen, some of the things, and it was just a conversation, and I've tried to work out the meanings, the feelings, the realizations, the connections behind them, and there isn't any. It was just me and him sat having a conversation. I was going, yeah, this happened last year, and we had this. Right, things that I mentioned in this conversation. I mentioned a voodoo doll. Because somebody had one and I'd seen it, and I remember going, why on earth would you have one of those? Somebody had bought it as a joke for them. I also had a conversation about when I used to be on Facebook, which I'm not anymore. Oh, bless you, come here. Come here. Lie down. When I was on Facebook last year, there was some idiot in, you know, the horror film It, the clown. There was some idiot in one of those costumes in some part of England scaring the living daylights out of people because he was just stood on corners and that, and it was all over Facebook. And because somebody, one of the mums at the same school as my child had said, has anyone else seen this, because it's ridiculous? And I said, yeah, I've seen it, it's just some idiot dressed up. So I relayed that story to him. I also relayed my spider story to him. I also relayed a lot of bits and pieces, Ghost. We ended up talking about ghosts as well during this conversation. And I was we were sat outside the pub at the time. I was having an orange juice, I wasn't drinking. I don't drink anymore. So we were just sat, and I'm telling her, and to say there wasn't any particular excitement behind it. I mean, it was just sort of like, oh wow, do you remember, you know, I remember this happening last year and this, and we had this conversation. So we spoke about all this, and I ended up spending some time over at his place because my daughter wanted to go over and she wanted to go and watch telly over there and spend some time with her dad. So I went, oh yeah, whatever, I'll go over for a bit. And I ended up staying in the spare room, well, not staying in the spare room, sleeping with my daughter, who's a starfish, in the spare bedroom. But anyway, he'd gone off to his room, he'd gone off to bed, and just before he went, we were watching the telly. Now, I don't watch the telly for the simple reason that whatever I think and whatever I do and whatever appears on the telly in some way, which is silly, but it does. But it usually reappears within a couple of days. Now, Friday night was crackers. We were sat watching National Lampoon's Vacation, which I've not seen in years. That came on, and there was a line in it where Chevy Chase said, "I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place." And I turned round and said, "Oh, that's strange. I actually wrote that exact line in an email today to somebody who wanted to get in touch with me for some help. I actually wrote that exact line and I said, that's not a line that you usually come out with." But I thought, okay, well, it's coincidence. We'll put that one down to coincidence. He toddled off to bed. I carried on watching the TV. Oh, and we'd also been talking about hunting and hunters earlier on. You can see where all this is going, can't you? So I'm quite happily just sat watching the telly. Ended up watching some magic show that was there. And during the magic show, this voodoo doll appeared in it. And I went, oh, okay, I mentioned that earlier. That's the second thing tonight that's happened. And then within 10 minutes of that being shown, the It clown out the film that I'd been speaking about also appeared. At which point I jumped out my chair and went, whoa, that's enough, I've had enough of this. That's just appeared as well. And I sort of went and stood in the kitchen and took a few deep breaths and said, right, okay, well, this is just repeating itself, and it's something I should be used to, but I think because of the context of what it was, it scared me a bit, but it's nothing to worry about, really. Went back in again, and there was the spider that we'd been speaking about. A couple of minutes later, what was the other thing that we spoke about? It was the hunting, and there was a hunter, and I need to mention actually at this point as well, I was actually speaking in the conversation much earlier in the evening about my brother. You know, my brother passed away, bless him, years and years and years ago. He had cerebral palsy. He was handicapped and in a wheelchair. But we spoke about him, and his name was Martin. Anyway, I need to throw that one in as well. So anyway, all this stuff comes up, and it went bang, 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 all at once, to the point where I was like, whoa, hang on a minute, this is crackers. And I actually went and knocked on his door and said, you need to get up, because I am not sitting here on my own at the moment. And he said, I've just heard you say, oh my God, there's a voodoo doll on the telly. Oh my God, there's the It clown on the telly. And he said, well, but we spoke about all this. I said, I know we spoke about all this, and this is what happens on a daily basis. But usually when it's happening, do you remember the other blog I did about me blowing up the tyre twice and the fuses in my car? it was happening at least a couple of weeks apart. Friday night, it was within 4-5 hours of actually having that conversation that it materialised, and I created it again. So it was extremely fast, and because I had a witness to it as well, because it was him I was speaking to, and this came up, and he could see it, and he's like, whoa, why are you doing that? So like, this is part of my gift, my new gift that's happening, that I'm co-creating. But what I don't understand is how to use it to its full extent, which I'm sure I will learn, because I'm actually saying it now, so I'm sure the angels will tell me, because as soon as I ask a question they will give me the answers within a certain amount of time. So they obviously wanted me to really, really be aware and fully comprehend just how much we do manifest things. We'd also talked about ghosts as well during this conversation. We'd got into a right conversation about all things esoteric and spiritual, and it had gone off on a tangent, I think, as well, a little bit, because ghosts are not something I usually talk about. But we had done. So he comes out of his room and he's sat in the front room with me, and he's like, I just heard all that and seen all that, and I could actually play it back on the with the remote control and go, look. Oh, okay. And there was a huge flash in the corner of the room, and I jumped. I went, oh my God, I've just seen that. And earlier on in the evening, we'd been talking about ghosts. I said, I see them, but sometimes they're just little sparkly lights, and other times they're flashes. And there's a big flash in the corner of the room. 2 minutes, and he's like, it's all right, don't worry. 2 minutes later, there was another flash in the corner. Now we're up on the first floor as well. It wasn't a car, it wasn't car headlights, it wasn't anything. But the second time it happened, he saw it as well. And I went, you just saw that, didn't you? He went, yeah, I just saw that too. Yay! Proof. Thank goodness you've seen it. I'm so glad that you've seen it. Now, as a result of all of this, and talking to him about it as well. Now, I did mention I had spoken about my brother, bless him, and the next morning, as he was giving me and my daughter a lift home, we stopped at the traffic lights, and a lad was pushed across the road in a wheelchair, and he had cerebral palsy, in the same wheelchair that my brother used to sit in. He just looked at me and went, yeah. And I went, yeah, absolutely. And so many other little things as well, but it happened within such a short space of time that there was absolutely no ignoring it. It wasn't coincidence, it was absolutely, even to the point where, you know, I watched a couple of things on YouTube the next morning, which came out with exactly the same stuff as well, other stuff that we've been speaking about. I think what I'm trying to stress in this video is, even if you are not aware of the fact that you may be creating your own reality, you are, even if you can't see it, because I never used to be able to see it. I was never aware of it years ago. I am very, very, very aware of it now. So when people say you do create your own reality and you can change your life and you do it one step at a time, I actually do now believe and know that you do. And this is part of what I'm trying to explain, probably in the wrong way, but I'm trying to explain. And it's not a scary thing. It's not. I was a little bit freaked out at the weekend, I admit, because I'm not fully used to it yet. I'm not fully, not when it happens that quickly. It was crazily quick. It was within a few hours. And when it's that quick, then you go, oh, okay then. But it's something that I'm getting used to. It's something that I'm beginning to, and I'm very, very thankful and appreciative. And it is part of the Kundalini, the twin flame. It's the full connection. It's a part of that. And it's also how, if my guides and my angels are trying to tell me something, this is how they will tell me. I'll either get a huge download of answers when I ask something a few hours later, or I will see different things on the TV or on YouTube or wherever I'm going, which will give me the answers that I need. But at the same time as all that is going on, and you've got daily life, and I'm a single mum and all the rest of it, and dogs and cats and looking after home, doing readings on YouTube, at the same time, everything I do, say, watch, think, is then recreated in my reality on a daily basis. And I'm becoming more and more aware of that. So I know I said to my daughter's father once, I sort of completely comprehended this. I said, okay, so this is really good. I create my own reality. So now that I know that I'm doing that, how do I do it in a way that is more, not only more advantageous to myself, but to everybody. Obviously, I have to, part of being awakened, part of being on YouTube is to try and give you my situation, my experience, my messages that come down that I'm to relay to you, to help you as well, in a way that everybody understands or gets. Or there might be the odd word, there might be the odd part of a conversation that I will say that maybe one of you will pick up on and say, wow, you just given me that deja vu feeling, you've just given me that aha moment, and this is what it's all about. I always said that I know that I'm a messenger, and I know that I'm here to try and help and awaken as many people as possible. What I didn't realise was, and we found out afterwards, my daughter's father, I have just started him on the awakening process as a result of him witnessing the weekend. I don't know what I triggered in him, but he started. He was in bits last night, in tears apparently, and it's not something I can, he needs to get, it's not something that he needs to go through. But I didn't realise that sometimes you can be awakened. This Kundalini can start inside you. Your chakras can start to open up spontaneously, not through trauma or by accident or through deliberate intention. They can, if it has been predestined for you, if it's part of your contract, they can actually just spontaneously start to open. Now I know that there is this huge awakening going on in the universe at the moment. There are so many of you starting to awaken up, but it doesn't actually have to happen through trauma or anything else. It can spontaneously happen, maybe as a result of being in contact with somebody who is already fully awake, as the case of my child's father, just because he was sort of stood near me, or he has spoken to me, we've had a conversation, he's been in sort of close proximity to me. He's actually started the process now, and I don't know how I feel about it. No, actually I'm quite glad about that. I know that he'll go through some rough times, just as I did, but I'm happy that he's going through it, and at least he's got a heads up. At least he's got me in the background, who has a damn good idea of all the stages that he'll go through and everything that he'll go through, everything that he'll experience. And he will be able to go, oh my God, what's going on, and come to me, and I'll be able to help him because I know, because I've already done it and gone through it. It's, you know, it's twin flame counselling. It's the stages, so I can help him with that, and that's fine. Whereas when I went through it, I was totally isolated and I couldn't speak to anybody. That's the way it was with me. There was always, from what I've read, if you were in India or a Buddhist or out in the mountains or something, and you have your Kundalini opened and this is your intention to deliberately start this process, you go through a purification, you go through steps in order to prepare yourself to have this experience, to connect with your guides and your angels. And they put you through a specific, you have a guru, you have a qualified teacher to help you open up these chakras and go through everything with us. But what we're finding now, for thousands of us around the world, 144,000 of us there is, that it is happening spontaneously by accident. It's being kicked off by trauma, and there is a reason obviously for this, that the universe, higher consciousness, part of this higher consciousness, we are all to wake up eventually. All of us are to wake up at some point now in the future. We've already done it, we're already halfway through it. All of us are to wake up, and there are, not every single one of us will wake up. It'll be in our contracts for some of us that we don't, and we'll never understand. You'll be watching this and you won't have a clue what I'm talking about, and you'll just think I'm mad, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm not. So there is the universe is the most awesome, beautiful, amazing place. There is so much more to it than a lot of you can imagine. And I really, really hope this helps, and I hope that it helps you to feel more secure in yourself if you are seeing things or hearing things, or to know that it is just all part of the collective consciousness of what is going on today, in order to bring more peace to the world, less fighting, more unconditional love, because that's what it is all about. Once you connect up to your spirit, and once you're up there, it is about unconditional love. It's about accepting other people. It's about non-judgmental things. It's don't start me crying. It is very, very beautiful and extremely amazing. And I now have, you know, my reading my tarot, and that I've always sort of had, but because of the awakening now, I have a lot of new gifts as well that are given as part of the twin flame dynamic. And I now know, you know, and I'm also obviously a light worker sort of comes into it as well, just as a given. I'm so grateful for these. Even I am totally thankful and grateful even for the times when it was really hard, even for the times when I didn't know what was going on and I didn't understand it, and I did think I was losing the plot, and I did think there was something seriously wrong. I know once you get grounded properly, thank you, Chris. once you get grounded properly, and you learn that if you're starting to freak out, if things are starting to get a little bit much for you, just get grounded. You know, I do the spirit messages every morning, and angels tell you a lot of the time to do that. They tell you to eat healthy. They tell you, because they're talking to the ones that are waking up, they're talking to those of you who are now becoming aware, because there's just, it's like a domino effect almost. I'm trying to give you messages. Hopefully some of you, it's helping you along your journey. It's certainly helping me along my journey because I'm blogging it down, because it's helping me to understand as well certain things. It helps me to help you, and it also helps awaken others. Some of you will watch this and start to wake up, just as I didn't know I could stand into close proximity and somebody else is going to wake up. That's obviously, for some of it, for some of you, that is the way it's going to work. And it's amazing. So I need, even if you can't see it now, even if you're not aware, even if you do think I'm daft, try and pay attention to what is going on around you. Try and pay attention, or even write down things that you're saying, that you're doing, that you're thinking. Especially if they're strange thoughts that maybe you've not had before, or your mind goes off on a tangent and you concentrate, because where you're creating reality wherever your focus goes, which is why I always say be very, very careful of what you're thinking or saying or doing, because once you start to focus on that, you will start to bring it into reality. Once you've got that intent behind it, whether you on a conscious level mean it or not, it will happen. Now, all this happened to me the other night, and I was having a conversation, but because I was speaking it, because there was not intent behind, but I was having an animated conversation about things. Because of that, it starts to create. So even if you're not aware of it, just try and be aware of it. You will start to see it, and once you start to see it, and once you start to pick up on it, you start to pick up on it even more, because obviously that's where your focus is then, and you start to create more of it. Now, I said this morning in my messages from the angels that there would be a lot of synchronicities today and a lot of things, and I've watched another YouTube video today, and I think the moon is in Neptune or something. The moon is around anyway, and the moon is mysterious, the moon is psychic, the moon is directly related to the mysteries of life and the other side of the veil, and things are going to be a lot closer today. So I think a lot of you may notice things that you wouldn't have noticed before. So I think the reason of all this, yes, it's a blog for me, so I can look back on this one day when I'm far, far, far further down the line and think, oh, what was I worried about? When I'm sat on top of a mountain with my Buddha costume on. It is amazing, and there are so many amazing things, and everything is awesome. And just trust and believe completely, and just let, once you've opened up, just let the universe take over. I know that I am just to be, to let go of control, to not try and control anything, just to try and relay experiences back to you that will help you, and I really hope that it does. I don't think there's anything else that I probably need to say, but just to keep all your thoughts really, really positive. I related things on Friday in the conversation, ghosts and voodoo dolls and all sorts of stuff that came up during my dark night of the soul last year, when I was in the midst of it all and not understanding what was going on. So obviously I was not in a position, or I didn't understand that I had to keep my thoughts positive. I never understood, which I need you to actually hopefully understand, that if something bad happens to you, like your car breaks down or something goes on, or your fuses go in your car or your tyre breaks on your car, do not go and bitch and moan and complain about it and gossip about it to somebody else, because as soon as you start doing that and as soon as you start feeding that, it is going to kick off the domino. It's going to start other things happening that are bad for you. When you concentrate on bad, you get more bad, just as when you concentrate on good, you get more good in your life. So I think this is probably one of the main messages I need to say to you, whether you are aware of what's going on or not, whether you can see synchronicity, whether you just think it's a load of baloney, whatever your opinion is, just keep thinking positive. And by you thinking positive, you create more positive things in your life. And by you doing that, you are helping to bring peace to the world. You are helping to stop fighting. This will eventually overcome and overwhelm the badness in the world, as long as we all keep a positive light. And that is why this is happening. This is why we are here, to change this world into something good. We don't look after this universe the way we should. We take it for granted. We mistreat it. We mistreat animals. We mistreat people. We mistreat the environment so much because we take it for granted. And it is such a gift to be looked after. So, gosh, I hope this helps. And wow, a long time, 36 minutes going on with myself, 36 synchronicity. I've got some other blogs to do as well. I was trying to concentrate that one on just manifestation. There is a twin flame one that I want to do as well, but it's done. I've stepped out of my comfort zone. I have told you and I've done it. Thank you. I get used to doing my angel cards, and I get used to doing my readings, and I get used to advising people on a one-to-one basis, and counselling. I still find it strange sometimes to have to come onto YouTube and do it as well, even though I know I'm doing it for me as well. Sometimes it's still a bit strange, but when I've got the universe saying, look, this is what's happening to you, and you need to tell it, because other people as well may be going through it, or they will start to understand it. And this is just all information for you to take how you want. And I am giving it you with absolutely pure love and silly fingernails at the moment. And so I've bitten a carpet last night. And before my husky howls again, just namaste. I love you all, and I hope you just take this information with as much love as I give, as I'm giving it out to you. My husky wants my drink, but he's not having it. Are you? No. Right. Namaste. Take care. And I'm just going to pick my coffee up because you can't have it. And I will speak to you all soon. Thank you.